Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are, Tuesday night, which means we're going back into Battle World. Kills with me, Coriander and Eric, of course. And tonight, guys, but once again, we're going into some different avenues with our battles. This is going to be a really interesting one. Can't wait to see how this thing turns out. But real quick, just to say hello to you guys in the chat. Thank you guys for jumping in. We appreciate it. Just to say hello to some of you guys. We got Paula in the chat. What's up, Paula? Good to see you. We got RJ. All right. Let's see. Saying that Bird Box was a great movie. Yeah. Sarah's in the house. What's up, Sarah? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Rachel's in the chat saying yo. What's up, Rachel? How you doing? We've got Gene in the chat saying hello. What's up, Gene? Good to see you. And Melissa is here tonight. All right.
Hey, Melissa.
Yeah, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay, guys. Well, we've got a really interesting battle coming up tonight. Before we name the contestants officially, we've got to remember something, Kill. We got to remember something because this is Battle World, which means there is a champ. And Kill, who's the champ, Kill? Who's the champ? Say his name with pride. Tell him what state he's from.
It's a young man from Texas, and his name is Leatherface.
That's right. It's the big Leatherface. He is the champion. He is. He did it, man. I just wanted to give him his flowers, man, because that was a big feat, man. Because he's up with the upper echelon. You know,
yeah.
Jason, Michael, and obviously Stephen King. It's funny, Leatherface got there before Freddy or Ghostface or some of the other ones. It's crazy, man. That's what it's like.
He beat Stephen King in Stephen's First Offense too.
That's right. And they weren't a ham and egger edition there. It was a good matchup, man. All right. So tonight, let's get into this, guys. Eric, let's have you introduce contestant number 1 for tonight in Battle World.
Okay. Well, you never realize how much you take your senses for granted until one's actually taken away from you. And I'm not talking about, due to a car accident, an illness, or even, something out of a comic book. What if you can't use your sight? Because if you do, you die. Simple things like driving a car, getting groceries, or even walking a straight line are gone. However, that loss of sense can be replaced with a stronger sense of survival. And we're shown that through Mallory and her group of survivors in Bird Box.
All right. Okay. Coriander, how about you? Who do we have in corner number 2?
Welcome to a world that has gone deaf on purpose in order to survive. A family must live life in silence, or else the monsters will hear and tear you apart. Your only hope is to plan ahead and prepare your kids with plan A, B, and C. That means soundproofing, fireworks, shotguns, baby boxes with oxygen, and hearing aids. Don't break any glass, and don't step on a rusty nail. Don't fall into a grain tower, and don't play with toys that have batteries. Just don't make any sound. Here is the Abbott family trying to keep us as a quiet place.
All right. Okay. Let's get to Kill's commentary. Kill, this was your brainchild, man. What do you think of this matchup?
I love both of these movies, and I've been waiting to do this one. I can always appreciate, sci-fi or horror sci-fi, however you want to, categorize it, to do something different. And I'm sorry, I don't know what's scarier, not having the use of your eyes or not being able to make a sound. Nothing. So this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a really good one.
Good point. It's absolutely going to be a good one. And real quick for you guys that just jumped in, we got Kay in the chat also. What's going on? And we also have a channel member anniversary for Sarah, 15 months. Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate the support, all the help and the moderating and all that you do. Saying time flies when you're having fun. Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate you. Seriously. That is awesome. Okay, well, let's have these guys come into the arena. So, for you guys in the chat, for you guys watching the replay, sit back, relax as we head into Battle World, the battle of the senses. You know what time it is.
What is wrong with you? No.
Surviving is not living.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, man.
Very
This is
good.
gonna. Yay, thanks, man. I appreciate that. All right. This is this is gonna be a crazy one, man. And Rachel, that's a good point. Sensory horror is so interesting.
Yes.
I agree. It's so
Mhm.
true. These movies are very, very cool. Okay, guys, let's get into this. You guys know how we do this. We are going to go category by category, giving the point to the film that we think wins the category. For you guys in the chat, let us know what you pick as well. We'll try to get to as many comments as possible. We won't get to them all. But if you choose to, you can also do a super chat. We'll make sure we get to your comment or question. Plus, you can also give that point amount per dollar to the movie of your choice to help it win. All right. So let's start this thing off as we always do. Kill. We're going to start with the poster. The poster. All right. So we have the poster for A Quiet Place, and we also have a poster for Bird Box. What do you think, and who gets the point, man?
This one's tough. Can you go back to A Quiet Place?
Yep.
You know, I'm gonna have to go with Bird Box here.
Okay.
I like them both, but I don't know. Like Bird Box, it's weird. I like them both, but they both are kind of vague. One, you have a lady in a bathtub, okay, and you see kind of a shadow of something. This one, you
Mhm.
have a mother holding boy and girl.
Mhm.
You know, but there's something about this one. I could be like the coloring of the different blindfolds they're wearing, but
Mhm.
I don't know. There's something about the symmetry of this one that appeals to me more. So yeah, I got to go Bird Box.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
I like them both. I like the shading of both of them. You know, it's not like someone just took a picture from or a frame from the film and put it in. So I like that. But I'm going
Right.
to go with Bird Box. I like A Quiet Place because it's got that old school monster in the closet, monster behind you type feeling. But what I
Mhm.
like about Bird Box is you don't know why they're wearing blindfolds. Have they been
Mm.
injured? Have they seen something they haven't seen? I hate to say this with children involved. Are they on their way to an execution? We don't know. And I think, especially when you involve children and you can tell that they're in danger, that's more interesting to me and more scary. So I'm going Bird Box.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of tough because I don't know. I think I'll I think I like A Quiet Place better just because
Okay.
um I don't know. It's just more appealing to me, I guess.
Okay. All right. And real quick too in the chat, just to jump in with these guys, we got Van's in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you, Van. Hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed the discussion here. And Sarah, thank you for putting Eric's link in to his channel. Definitely make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already to Eric's channel.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Melissa is going with Bird Box. Paula is going with A Quiet Place. Kay's going with A Quiet Place. And Rachel's saying going with A Quiet Place. I feel like the framing and the shot of Emily in the tub really provokes intrigue. Okay. For me, this is tough because I think both of these posters do a pretty good job of giving you some curiosity. Because again, you guys said it with A Quiet Place, what's lurking behind her. She definitely looks as though something's going on, And with Bird Box, again, why are they blindfolded like that? It's kind of like, and once you have children involved, obviously both movies have children involved, but if you haven't seen the movie or anything, you wouldn't know exactly what's involved with A Quiet Place. So the thing about Bird Box, and I'm going to give the point to Bird Box, is that you see the two children there being held by Sandra Bullock. And again, like you said too, Eric, what's going on? But I also do think that the coloring is really good, especially with the blue blindfold. It really captures your attention. So I'm going to go with Bird Box. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next category kill. We're going to be talking about the tagline for the films. The tagline. So for Bird Box, we've got the tagline, never lose sight of survival. And for A Quiet Place, if they hear you, they hunt you. Who gets the point and why?
Okay, this is an easy street for me. I'm going for Quiet Place. For me, this is the only one that makes sense. I'm sorry. Like, if they hear you, they hunt you. And I love the coloring of hear and hunt. Whereas with Bird Box, never lose sight of survival. I get the play on words there.
Right.
But yeah, like it's still, I don't know. That statement doesn't work for me. Like, so yeah, I got to go with Quiet Place on this one because that is to the point and that's scary.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
This is easy street. I'm agreeing with Kill. It's A Quiet Place. I love me a pun. You know what I mean? And Bird Box does a good job with its pun, but A Quiet Place, it's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and I like how it's not, it doesn't say what the monster is. It's just if they hear you, they hunt you. Who are they? Well, that's got me intrigued. If something is hunting me, but they haven't said what it is, yeah, I think that does its job. Makes it scary.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
So what was the Bird Box again?
With Bird Box, let me just pull it up here. Bird Box is never lose sight of survival.
Okay.
And A Quiet Place is if they hear you, they hunt you.
A Quiet Place, definitely.
Okay. All right. Let me just catch up to the chat here. Looks as though Rachel's saying, I like A Quiet Place. Okay. Melissa's going with Bird Box. Sarah's going with A Quiet Place. All right. Kay's going with A Quiet Place. Super Tender's in the chat too. What's up, man? Saying he's going with A Quiet Place as well. Saying he really loves both of these movies. All right. And hey, we got Barb in the chat. What's going on, Barb? Good to see you.
Hey.
Hope you're having a good night. Saying, finally catching a freaking live. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Thank you for coming. We appreciate that. And we've got 18 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It definitely helps to support the stream and the channel. For me, I think both of these, they're pretty simple. And you guys said it really well. Bird Box is kind of having that play on things, like a pun. I will go with A Quiet Place because the one thing that it has over it, and both of them have, they speak of the sense, whether it's hear or don't lose sight, right? But the thing that A Quiet Place does is it also just tells you straight up, it is they, and they're hunting you. So it's like there's still curiosity, but yet at the same time, they're letting you know what you're in store for, which I think that's a hard thing to balance. So I got to give that point to A Quiet Place. All right. Let's get ready to go to our next category. And we got Ginger Ninja coming into the chat. What's up,
Ginger.
man?
Hey.
Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. We got Scott jumping in too. What's up, Scott? Good to see you. Say, only got a moment, but wanted to pop in and say hi. All right. All right. Hope you're doing well. Okay. Kill. Let's go to our next category. Our next category is the opening. So the opening is always the first few minutes, maybe even up to 15 minutes of the film. And obviously, both movies basically showing a very tragic opening or tragic death. Who gets the point and why?
You know, at first I was going to say this is an easy street, but it really isn't. But there is one that I'm clearly more partial to because it's a gut punch. I'm going with The Quiet Place because not only do they kind of put you right in, you know, in utero, like, hey, we're in this. We'll explain some stuff, but we're in this. I'm seeing people walking on salt. They're barefoot. They're not making noise. And you get it. Okay, this is how they have to move. These are the things they have to do. And you know, hope this isn't any spoilers, guys, but there's a gut punch very early in this movie to let you know the repercussions for making noise, the slightest noise. And I just remember seeing this in the theater and everyone gasped. Everyone just totally was like, oh, this is this type of movie. No one is safe, regardless of age or innocence. Right. And yeah, whereas, you know, Bird Box did it a little different. You know, it's kind of a day in the life, and, you know, just things slowly start to unravel and go a little bonkers. But yeah, I got to go with more of the gut punch. So I'm going with The Quiet Place.
All right. Okay. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, both are really good, but I'm going to go actually the opposite way. I'm going to go with Bird Box, and here's why. A Quiet Place does it great, and, you know, we are going to obviously deal with spoilers, but I'll keep that one spot, you know, spoiler free. We do know that everybody's up for grabs when it comes to these creatures, and it is a gut punch. But what I like about Bird Box and why I'm giving that the point is we do get to see, I like Kill said it perfectly, a day in the life of. You know, we get to meet Sandra Bullock, and is it Sarah Polly is her sister? Sarah Polly, Sarah Paulson. Paulson. Okay.
Yeah.
And we get to see their little bit of a relationship as sisters. I like that. You get the little hints on the news, you know, that things are going wrong all around the world. And then when shit hits the fan, it really hits it. And it kind of reminded me of the 04 Dawn of the Dead, that opening with all the chaos. And you don't know who's safe, and this guy's doing that, and this girl's doing that. And then you get your own gut punch with Sandra Bullock's sister. You know what I mean? And that's heartbreaking to be as it is. And I think because we got to know them just, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes more, I think that's more effective for me. So I'm going Bird Box.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, they're both good. And this is like a tough choice because you've got, you know, people smashing their heads against glass and walking into burning cars and just killing themselves and crazy shit. And yeah, you see, you know, like Killian said, no age doesn't matter, and innocence does not either. And yeah, it's tough to choose, but I think I'm going to go with Bird Box also.
Okay. All right. And real quick, too, in the chat before I give my point, real quick, we got Elm Street in the chat. What's going on? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Barb saying this is such a good battle because they are so close. Yeah, I agree. Yes. Elm Street's going with A Quiet Place. And by the way, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. That definitely helps to support the stream. And if you can share out the stream on your social media, that'd be great as well to help us out. Thank you so much. For the opening, this is tough because both of them are so good. Both openings are amazing, in my opinion. They really set up the world that we're going to be watching, and also sets up, you know, at least some of the main players. And both are gut punches, man. I mean, I think that the only thing that I can say is I'm going to give it to Bird Box. And The main reason is just because of the scope. You know, you really get a sense of that scope right in your face. You do get that a little bit in A Quiet Place because you do see like the newspapers saying it was sound, which was kind of like a little bit of a nod to George Romero, Day of the Dead, The Dead Walk. But with Bird Box, man, it's like, woo. I mean, you look, it's time to Carl Lewis this thing as soon as it starts getting down, right? You got to run. And the thing of it, well, we'll get into that in some other categories, but it was like, man, you just got to hit the ground and run. And Sandra Bullock playing Mallory, she had a lot of luck. She had a lot of luck in that opening, and it just shows how fragile the world had become. So I'm going to give that point to Bird Box. Okay. All right. And that was a tough one. I'm going to admit that was a very tough category. Next up, Kill. The music, or I should say the score in the films. Who gets the point and why?
You know, it's weird. For me, the music in both of these is kind of forgettable. And I really can't think of too many notes or tones in A Quiet Place because it's a very, very quiet movie. I'm gonna go with Bird Box because there were a few like hints and notes here, especially when Mallory, Sandra Bullock's character, is going down the river with boy and girl, and so forth. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bird Box on this one.
Okay, Eric, how about you?
Well, I'm with Kill on the fact that it's kind of hard to remember scores from either film, but I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm going to say A Quiet Place, because while I can't remember real scores from either film, I think it was actually used better in A Quiet Place during a lot of the intense scenes, like when the creatures are attacking. I think the fact that the movie was so damn quiet, it helped that score stand out, at least in the way it was used for me. So even though I can't, I wouldn't be able to hum a piece of the music, I could at least appreciate and know and acknowledge that it was used better in A Quiet Place.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I can remember the music in A Quiet Place better than Bird Box. I think Eric said it well with, the intense scenes and the music. And yeah, because you can't talk. So it's like, you need the music. So yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay. And real quick, too, in the chat, Super Tender saying this is a really good battle. It really is. It really is. That's what we aim for. That's what we aim for. And and Jason's in the chat. What's up, Jason? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Paul is going with A Quiet Place, and Elm Street going with A Quiet Place as well. Kay's going with Bird Box. Okay. All right. For me, I agree with you guys. The music, obviously, the score, I should say, did take a back seat in these films, and understandably so for what these movies are, which I think is actually, an advantage to these movies because you really find yourself paying attention in a different type of way, or at least I did. That being said, I have to also give this to A Quiet Place. And I think that, you guys said it well. There were a couple of nice little, musical numbers and so forth. But there was one particular one that really is effective. And we'll probably get into that in a later category. But there was one scene that was like, the music, it was so much of a character as much as what was going on in that really epic scene. So I got to give this one to A Quiet Place. Okay. All right. Next up, Kill. The story itself. Who gets the point and why?
This is hard. This is and it's like we know these questions are coming, but it's like, damn it, this is hard. Okay, the way that I'm looking at this is one story. One movie is half of a bottleneck movie, and the other one is a mother, protecting her kids. Then you have another movie where it's a family straight up trying to survive on the ragged edge. Because of those variables, I'm going to go with A Quiet Place slightly. And my only reasoning for that is, for me, it's a very concise story. Whereas Bird Box, I loved the bottleneck part, the Night of the Living Dead part, the part where you have all these different personalities stuck in a house. I could have actually just enjoyed a movie of just that, you know,
Right.
because that's always that fear of what's more dangerous, what's inside or outside, you know, shots out to the mist. But you know, it switches from that, and then it goes to, you know, switches with the stuff on the river with Mallory and boy and girl. Whereas A Quiet Place is solely always about the family, teaching the kids what to do, how to do, having them essentially attend school, you know, having them help on the farm, you know, and it's just so much to it. And to see the love that this family has, this, you know, the father tinkering downstairs for his daughter's hearing aid and so forth, and the mom who's like pregnant, still cooking up all this food, still being quiet, still teaching kids, it, you know, all together with all of that nucleus, I slightly have to go with A Quiet Place.
All right. Okay, Eric, how about you?
Yeah, this is one of the toughest categories I'm pretty sure we're going to have all night because they're so similar. You know, you either can't see or you can't speak. You have women getting ready to have birth. There are families involved. You know, supernatural creatures. You know, to some sort is what's causing all this. The reason why I'm going to give it to Bird Box is this: I've said it many, many times that I'm not a big fan of non-linear movies. I actually liked how this flowed. How we started in present day, then the past, or vice versa, and then we went back and forth and back and forth. And it's not like a Tarantino movie where like you don't get the answer till like 90 minutes into the movie. You're really getting the pieces thrown to you early, so you can kind of put together who are these children. You know, are they both Sandra Bullock? Up. Here's someone else who's going to have a baby. So which baby is hers? Which baby is not? Type of thing. And I think it flowed better in Bird Box.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
You know, with the Bird Box, I mean, what did we really see but like leaves floating around and wind, and you heard growling, okay? With A Quiet Place, you had the full story. You know, there some alien creature or something, you know, you see that you can't, I don't know, you just see the creatures, and I like that. You know, with the Bird Box, you really didn't. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you know it's aliens because you saw them shooting down from the sky, but you don't see them. That kind of sucks. So, yeah, I think, you know, like I said, A Quiet Place is just a more roundabout from A to Z story for me. So,
Okay. All right. Real quick in the chat, let me just jump into the chat here. Paula is going with A Quiet Place. Let's see. Rachel saying A Quiet Place, an emotional story following the family and their trauma, and I think the characters are more endearing. Okay. All right. Kay's also going with A Quiet Place. We have another channel member anniversary for
Nice.
Cody. What's up, Cody? Good to see you. 11 months. All right.
One more to
Saying,
go.
wow. Yeah, 11 months is crazy. Hit the like and sub. All right. Oh, you haven't seen these. Oh, you should check them out, man. Check them out.
This was my first time seeing Bird Box. It was good.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely. Super Tenor is going with A Quiet Place. And hey, we got Mayan's in the chat. Good to see you, Mayan. Hope you're doing well. And Barb saying, great point, Coriander. All right. For me, this is tough because I think both movies, they do have parallels to their story, and it's really interesting because one kind of takes you, you know, more inwards, and the other one is kind of moving outwards. You know, meaning as far as how many people are involved, and sometimes that can be an advantage or a disadvantage to the movies. I think that I'm edging this to A Quiet Place just more so because of the focus of the family, and because the storylines between all four of them were able to be shown more effectively and in a fuller way. Okay. So whether it's, Lee or Evelyn, trying to raise these two children in this world that's totally gone to crap, and how to navigate that, all the planning, like you were saying too, Kill, all the planning and the schooling and the prep work. These two are some of the greatest planners for parents of all time. Because I'm telling you, they had to really work hard to get all this set up. But yeah, there was just a little bit more of a fuller connection to all the characters. Not to take anything away from Bird Box, because I think there were so many great characters in it. Shout out to John Malkovich, who always steps up, and he's that jerk that you love. And every time he was on screen, I absolutely loved it. So shout out to John Malkovich.
I went into this movie completely blind. I only knew Sandra Bullock was in this, and when I saw John Malkovich, and I'm like, he's going to be in a horror movie. Oh, I was so happy, dude.
Yeah, right. No doubt. Yeah, so I'm going to edge this one out to A Quiet Place. In the chat, we got Melissa. Melissa is still here, or back and forth, saying she's going with Bird Box. All right. Barb saying Bird Box is unique for sure. Yeah, it is. Super Tenor saying the winner of this should go up against No One Will Save You. That was a good movie too. Yeah, that was a good one too. It's a pretty good idea. We'll see. We'll see how this does. We'll see how many people check this out. Okay, next up, the scarier threat, Kill. So you're in this situation. You're living in this world that has had this happen. Okay, which to you is the scarier threat?
Okay. Now,
based upon what we know in these movies,
right? And that's exactly what I was about to say. Based on what we know and what we've seen as the threats, plural, one of these movies has more than one threat, and that's Bird Box. Because Bird Box, you got to deal with the crazies that are just like, hey, just open your eyes. You want to see a unicorn? Hey, little boy,
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, or people come in looking like it's Vigo. It's Vigo. Let me show you. Let me rip windows in. Look at it. It's
Shout out to Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah,
good
there you go. But on top of the threat, like Coriander said, the leaves and the growling, we don't really see what it is, and I don't think I want to see it.
Except for those drawings.
Yes.
True.
The drawings, come on.
Well, I mean, hey, that's what the
crazy. It's like Jason passing the damn mirror.
Well, I will say, let me say this. If you want to know more, there is a kind of sequel called Bird Box Barcelona, and it's flipped. I'm not going to say much more, but you guys should watch it because it's good, because you get a different perspective. Like, that's what you see. Interesting. But for me, whereas you have those two threats, the crazy people that want you to see, and then the thing that causes you to commit suicide, in A Quiet Place, you could still live, farm, have babies, teach school, walk around and be hippies on the farm, as long as you don't play Monopoly and knock over a lamp. You still can survive. Although if you make the slightest noise, an NBA player with the longest arms in the world is going to cut your head off.
There you go.
So just by the numbers and the crazies being an extra, added bonus here, I'm slightly going with Bird Box.
Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
See, I knew this was going to be a category. I even put my daughter on the spot, what she thought, type of thing. And I'm going A Quiet Place, and that's what she did too. And notwithstanding, you have, the happening creatures, or whatever we're going to call them for Bird Box. We can't see them, and and the looters. You know what I mean? Anyone who wants to rob and harm you. You can possibly find a house, find a way to get to a supermarket to get supplies, food, and such. You can, air quotes, possibly live until you have to make like another supply run. I think it's scarier in A Quiet Place because you don't know what could happen that would cause a noise. Not everyone's going to think of making that little box to keep a baby's cries muffled. What if she cries in the middle of the night? You know what I mean? What if you stub your toe or step on a freaking nail? You know what I mean? Not everybody's going to have the gumption to keep it quiet. Or what if you just have a sneezing fit, something simple like that? That's what I'm thinking. They could bring out the noise and bring these creatures, and it's the uncontrollable aspect for me, like physically, like what we could possibly do to cause, these creatures to come get us. So I'm going with A Quiet Place.
All right, Coriander, how about you?
I have to go with A Quiet Place too, because I mean, come on, like Eric said, you can't sneeze, you can't do anything really, so
Sneeze
yeah.
behind the waterfall.
Well, there you go.
If you have
Right,
one.
but if you don't live by one or around one, you're screwed. So yeah,
Shoot the fireworks up and then
Okay.
there you go.
Well, for me, to me, I mean, it's horrible on both sides. Okay, it's really, really bad on both sides. But I have to go with Bird Box on this, and I agree with you, Kill, because we're not only dealing with monsters, but we're dealing with, how many people are mentally ill in this world. You literally have an army on this planet that are ready to take you out as well. They want you to see. And here's the other thing about it too. So you can't see, so you can never really know what you're dealing with, right? And the thing that got me in this movie, and I know we're gonna talk about this in another category, so I won't get too deep into it, but it's not only on the first floor of your house that you have to keep your eyes closed. You have to do that when you're upstairs as well. And that freaked me out because when he opened up those windows and they were upstairs, right? It's like, what are these creatures doing? Just floating around, having a party in the air? Because you saw what happened with Olympia. They were upstairs,
Well, it's like invasion.
Well, but that's what I'm saying though, is that you literally just can't even look out the window. You can't do that. They're everywhere. And eventually, and again, you'd have to be secluded somewhere on an island. It's basically zombie protocol now, okay? Unless you're on an island alone, eventually those looters are going to come around. Somebody's going to come around and they are literally crazy to the max. I gotta go with Bird Box.
Can I also just add one thing that just dawned on me too? Also, whatever the force is, it whispers to you.
Yes,
Grandma,
plays with your mind.
You? Oh yes,
right.
Dear, pull your shades down. Yada yada.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just going down a river alone with not using sight, you're gonna die. I'm sorry. We value our sight, and if you are not, versed in not using your sight, just trying to get around in the streets, shouts out to Bird Box Barcelona, you have to be inventive just going around in the street with no light, no eyes.
Yeah, and the other thing too, you said it, like you're on the river. Again, are we partying on the river too, these monsters? I mean, like they're where aren't they? I mean, can they go and hide somewhere and take a nap? I mean, the monsters are everywhere, man. So that, to me, that's something that is so crazy, is that they're literally everywhere. You can't look anywhere. And I thought also, and I'm going on a tangent, but it was just so poetic at the end that those with the greatest survivalists are the ones that were without that sense. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was very poetic at the end. Good category, guys. Good category. Let me catch up to the chat. This is a really tough matchup, man. It really, really is. And thank you, Sarah, for putting the link in the chat. If you want to become a channel member and help support the channel, you can click the join button next to the subscribe button, or click this link that Sarah put in the live chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Super Tenor is saying, I'd rather be quiet than not see. So Bird Box. Okay. All right. We're at 23 likes. Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate that. We also have another channel member anniversary for Denisha. It's 17 months, man. All right.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Denisha. 17 months. That's so crazy. It only seems like yesterday that we started. And thank you also for helping to moderate, Denisha. We appreciate that. Saying 17 months, been amazing ever since we met. Well, we appreciate all the support, Denisha. Seriously. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Super Tenor, a fart in the night, you're done. There you go. It's true.
Hey, man, some bad pizza can kill you, So
yeah. Barb saying he said partying on the river. Yeah, but exactly. I mean, they're everywhere, bro. They are like having like a bicentennial everywhere. It's absolutely crazy. What are they? Do they have drinks?
Well,
Do they have
and then
entertainment?
also the guy that was on the river, he just waded through the water. It was like, hey,
Yes.
let me get
He
you.
came,
Like,
bro. Hey, he pulled a Michael Myers. He came out of nowhere. Just hey guys, you know, it's like what the hell? I mean, so it's a crazy world with these monsters and so many people that were mentally ill that obviously they transform. So it's definitely interesting stuff. Kill. Let's go to our next category, which is the acting category. Which movie gets the point for acting?
I'm gonna slightly give it to A Quiet Place, and my reasoning for that is child actors. The daughter in there, who I believe she in real life is deaf. She was so cute, so smart, and so tough. You know, all of the both movies have great performances.
Yes.
Whether it's John Malkovich, Sandra Bullock, or his name I believe is like
Trevante Rhodes.
Trevante Rhodes. He was really good, and people, like, oh yeah, that guy. Yes, he was really good.
Shout out to the Predator.
Shout out to the Predator.
Yeah, he should have been the leader. Instead, they had Captain America.
Johnny America.
Johnny America. There you go.
But John Krasinski, in particular, his performance in A Quiet Place was just so sweet, and just like he certain scenes where he takes his son behind the waterfall, and he's just like and then the son is like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "It's okay," and also to do the amount of acting that both him, Emily Blunt, all the kids did, and not talk a lot.
Right.
Like Emily Blunt, I don't think she says anything in this entire movie. I'm really trying to think, was there John Krasinski talks behind the waterfall, Emily Blunt yells giving birth. I really can't think of another time where she actually speaks, lines.
When she woke up after having her baby, they kind of had a little,
like
they talked a little bit.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless of that,
it wasn't much though.
To give such great performances without talking a lot, that's a true talent, and I just think all the actors and actresses in A Quiet Place were just top notch. So,
all right, Eric, how about you?
Damn. Everyone who knows me knows I'm a huge fan of less is more. But this time I'm gonna go with quantity and with Bird Box. As great as the performances in A Quiet Place are, because 90% of it is body language. And that shows a lot. This is the John Krasinski. This is the dude from The Office. That's all I know him from. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's the smart ass guy from The Office, and he's really good in this. And he's not that type of character. But the reason why I'm going with Bird Box is because we get more great performances over 4 great performances, if that makes sense. We get Sandra Bullock. You can't beat John Malkovich. You can't. Trevante Rhodes, I only know from The Predator, and he is so good in this. He's so likable and charismatic. Then we just have all the little BD Wong. He's in it for 5 minutes. BD Wong. Great. I love him in Jurassic Park and Gotham. He's fantastic in Gotham. And then just even dumbass, Machine Gun Kelly, he does what he needs to do for 5 minutes.
Yes.
I really like the character who worked at the grocery store. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Who's writing the book.
Lil Ray.
Lil Rel. Shout out to Get Out.
He was so good in that. So I think just because there's more great performances in Bird Box, that's what's going to edge it out for me.
Okay. All right. Coriander, how about you?
I have to go with A Quiet Place also, because to not really be able to act and talk, I mean, that's a big part of acting. You got to talk. So the fact that they were able to pull this movie off, and it's so good, I mean, I got to give it to A Quiet Place.
Okay. To me, this is so tough, man. This truly could be one of the toughest categories because of the fact that I think all the actors involved, all the principal actors, they were all great, and it's really like it's almost impossible to pick because, and you guys said it all. I mean, with A Quiet Place, to be able to emote the way they did with just so little dialogue is just absolutely amazing. It truly, truly is. And of course, with Bird Box, I mean, there were scenes with Sandra Bullock that will just, it tears your heart out. Like she got paid for the right reasons because she's Sandra Bullock. Trevante Rhodes, again, a lot of great moments. And John Malkovich, I mean, again, who beats John Malkovich in anything? Nobody. But also shout out to the lady that played Olympia, Danielle McDonald. She was really good in her role. And when things happen, I was just like, oh my God. And you don't feel that way unless you connect with the actor, as far as believing their character, to believe a person. Like Sandra Bullock said at the end of the movie, she was naming the girl after the sweetest girl she ever met. And that lady was, and to see what happened, which is obviously the whole crux of what these monsters do. They take away your hope. They take away your innocence. And so again, the acting is just so good in both of these movies. But I've got to edge it out to Bird Box. Similar to you, Eric, just so many great performances, and the fact that it's just more, which obviously can be an advantage or a disadvantage. So I'm going to edge this one out.
Yeah. Again, Sarah Paulson too was really good for as brief as she was in.
You really believe these two were sisters, like she made a little bit of an impact in the beginning.
Just say that you guys think Machine Gun Kelly is a better actor than Emily Blunt. It's okay. If that's your opinion, guys.
I liked him in The Dirt as Tommy Lee. I thought he was really good. So
yeah.
I know.
What's up to Michael? Michael's in the chat. Good to see you.
Welcome.
Let's see. Barb saying, the good thing is I didn't find any bad acting in either movie. Yep. I agree. Both of these movies, again, these are the types of movies, and I wish they, get more love. I think they're underappreciated, even though A Quiet Place has done, some really good numbers in the box office, and obviously it has a franchise. But to pull off a movie like this, where it's not necessarily about the gore and the carnage, although both of these movies have a world that has gone to hell, so in other words, the weight is on the actors to provide all of that terror and horror and fear and so forth, and you got to have good actors to make that work, and that's the key for both of these movies. So all right, next up, the director kill. The director, so we're talking about Suzanne Bier for Bird Box, and of course John Krasinski for A Quiet Place. Who gets the point and why?
I got to go with Krasinski. And my main reasoning for that is he's doing double duty. Now, granted, someone could say, well, he's not talking a lot in the movie, so yeah, he should be able to direct, but it's the subtleness. It's the body language. It's directing kids. It's directing, the cinematography of, I guess also, like you said, this is a world. Both of these movies are like a world where everything's gone to crap, but it's still a subtle beauty on this family's farm. Even their emergency oh shit lights look beautiful. When the lights go red, people are gonna be dead. But it still looks beautiful.
Right.
I mean, they have crops, and the way things are lit, the way the camera angles that were used. I think, and I'm not sure if this was his first directorial debut, but
I think so.
I mean, I think it is, but it was great. And this movie for me, I mean, both these movies, but especially A Quiet Place, came out of nowhere and was like, what is this? Is it sci-fi? Is it horror? Is it horror sci-fi? Is it drama? What is it? And to be in a movie with your wife, you're directing her, you're working together. So that could also be a hurdle. and obviously child actors is always a hurdle. So for me, and no disrespect to the Bird Box director, but to have this possibly be your first directorial debut, being the guy from The Office, you're directing your wife and she's, receptive to it. You're directing kids and you're directing just all of these subtle moments without vocabulary. That's a lot. And he pulled it off. So I got to go with Quiet Place.
All right. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going A Quiet Place, and I think John's actually pulling triple duty. I think he wrote the movie too.
I think
Yeah,
so.
he wrote it.
Yeah, he did a lot
Co-wrote
with it.
And Kill pretty much said everything I'm gonna say. Especially the stuff with the kid acting and the fact that the kids have to give great performances without speaking. But what I like is a lot. Here's where less is more is better. When John's shooting a lot of these scenes, you can feel the isolation here. You're isolated in Bird Box, but you do have that group of people, for the most part. Here, you can tell like these are just 4 people in the middle of nowhere. There's great shots of literally when John Krasinski, he's running down the road, as fast as he can. He's sprinting, but he is in this little section in the middle of all, I don't know if it's a cornfield or wheat field or whatever, but he is just this little guy in this vast, space, and he's all alone, and he's got to go from point A to point B. So you feel how alone they are, and that helps when you care about these characters, when they have to defend, they have to depend on each other to defend themselves against these creatures. So I think he's just more effective with that.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I have to go with A Quiet Place also. So yeah, and I'm not gonna, repeat what these two said because they said it. So yeah.
Okay. All right. For me, I think that it's tough though, because again, we have 2 movies that are doing some similar things, but they're also the scope of them are different, and sometimes the scope can really add a whole new level of difficulty. Obviously with Bird Box, showing how this affects so many other people. And also when you have those moments, like you said, Kill, with the bottleneck situation, which could have been the whole movie, that was really done well. I mean, I've seen a lot of movies where that doesn't go too well as far as the chemistry of the actors and the characters that are being presented. I mean, they literally did a Night of the Living Dead situation with a lot more characters, and it worked. There were a lot of, great moments, little nuances between these characters, and especially with Sandra Bullock and John Malkovich. When they had a couple scenes where obviously they're at odds with each other, but then when they had that scene where they basically had their little toast, that was a very, very good scene that said a lot about both of these characters and set up things in the future. And it takes a very special director to get that right, because they could have just had it be very dumb. We're holed up in a house. Oh my God, the monsters are outside, and that's pretty much it. But it was done very well. John Krasinski, of course, did a fantastic job with A Quiet Place, and I think that it was one of those movies where, to me, it was tougher to do. And you guys said it, because of the fact of the less is more. So that means when less is more, everyone can kind of hone in on those things and see the cracks in the armor, if there are any. There were no cracks in the armor for A Quiet Place. So I got to give this one to A Quiet Place as well. Barely edging out Bird Box because of the fact that we had less is more. You really got an intimate look at this family, each individual in the family as well. With both of the kids, they were both dealing with different things that really was going to be a challenge for them in this new world. So I thought it was expertly done, really good nuances. So I'll give that point to A Quiet Place. All right. Next category. The scariest moment, Kill. The scariest moment. Who gets the point?
I guess once again, I go with my first instinct. For me, it literally was the first time in A Quiet Place that they made a noise. Because I can just remember, and in hindsight, with all the other stuff that goes on in that movie, it's not that bad. But I just remember in the theater, you're watching this, once again, a day in the life of these people who are very, very well versed in what to do and how to do it. They're good at it. They're playing Monopoly with cloth figures, so it doesn't make noise, and all the little subtle details like that I love. But the kids were having a little too much fun and accidentally knocked over the lantern. And just that slight glass break brought one of those aliens from who knows how far away, because John Krasinski was kind of tracking them. He says, I think there's like at least 2 in the valley, yada, yada. But just that noise alone, and, just hear them, and they're just all like, tracking the noise. And it's just like, oh, and I just remember seeing that for the first time in a theater, and everyone in the theater was like, damn, so really the slightest noise, like really, it's like, geez, like this is scary, and what's going to happen, because we had already seen a gut punch earlier. So yeah, I gotta say that scene, because it goes from happy family just having some fun as a family after dinner to, oh crap, we may all die right now. So yeah,
all right. Okay. All right. Eric, how about you?
It's funny the way Kill worded that, because I'm going with Bird Box, but it's a scene where it's all happy-go-lucky family, and then, oh, we're gonna die. It's the scene after the 2 women give birth, and then that guy loses it, and he is ripping down all the covers, all the newspaper from the windows. And it's always scary when there's danger and you involve children, but these are now newborns.
Right.
I'm going into this movie blind. I don't know who's safe. We don't really know, how far this director or writer would go. And you're fearful for the newborns. You're fearful for the mothers, because they can't do anything. They literally just gave birth.
Yeah.
And this guy is just unrelenting of what, go see it. We got to see it type of thing. And then I can't think of the character's name, but the other newborn mother, that's not
Olympia.
Sandra Bullock. Yeah.
Olympia.
When she finally looks outside.
Yep.
And then she, to not say the word, when she takes herself out of the situation, that's scary. And then now we're putting 2 and 2 together. We know who the two children are, but still, it's just the anticipation of what's going to happen or what could happen with him ripping that stuff off. And Sandra, she's all by herself under the covers.
Yep.
And she's so defenseless because she's also got her newborn child with her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's scary shit to me.
I agree. Coriander, how about you?
I think for me, it was a scene in the Bird Box where she was taking those 2 kids down the river, and they went through the rapids, and it tipped and they fell in, and I could just, I have 2 kids, so nobody had life jackets, and that to me was like one of the scariest moments. Yeah.
Good. That's a good point, and actually a really good answer, because when Sandra Bullock was yelling for them and trying to swim herself, man, you could feel the desperation and the fear in her voice. Like, again, some great acting.
And you could just see her struggle. You could just imagine a little tiny kid having to stay up through those rapids. Yeah, crazy.
Absolutely. Those were all great answers. And this is really tough, because there's some scary ass moments in both of these films. And also shout out, definitely the bathtub scene too, Barb saying the bathtub scene. That was just, I mean, like, you're literally in the moment. I mean, what can you do? There's nothing you can do. And you know that there's going to be sound. But I got to give the point to Bird Box. And Eric, you took my answer. I think that moment when they gave birth, and again, both movies have a birthing scene, and both are very scary. But the thing that always gets me about Bird Box, I'll never forget it, the first time I saw it, and even the other times I've seen it, and of course the rewatch for this, and I alluded to it earlier, when Olympia has that moment, and you just, of course, I think it's an interesting thing with the visuals of their eyes, how their eyes just kind of go.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, guys, but I kind of connect it to this character, just a sweet, kind of
Mm-hmm.
innocent lady. Like she said, she had so much love in her life. She was soft. And when she makes that change, and you know in the movie what that means, and she's holding her baby, I'll never forget what I was like, oh my God, get the baby, get the baby. And to just see her check out, it was almost like, okay, there is no more hope. Like it was almost like the battle was lost because Sandra Bullock couldn't run anywhere. She had
Right.
just given birth, and Tom was knocked out. John Malkovich was in the garage, and all you had was the older lady there. So it's like these mothers are done. These
Mm-hmm.
newborn babies are done. But obviously, we saw how things went. So I got to edge the point out to Bird Box on
You know
this
what
one.
other? You know what else made that scene not just scary but just sad is Olympia. It was caused because of the person she let in the house. And you
Yes.
remember that scene where she said because she let him
You-
in because she knew what it felt like to be on the outside trying to get
That's
in.
right. That's
And
right.
sadly, it led to her own doing. So that
I
just
know. It was so freaking sad. And not only that, but it seemed like, and I could be wrong, but there's two instances and she's one where it seemed like for a second, maybe she was able to fight it, and
mm-hmm,
give the baby to Mallory, right?
mm-hmm,
Like just maybe that split second where she was able to just because Sandra Bullock kept saying, give me your baby, because she knew what was going on. She
yep,
knew what was on the line. And it was almost like Olympia maybe had that split second of using her will as a mother, the love for
mm-hmm,
her child, to say, here's my baby, because I got to make a choice, and that's not a good choice.
mm-hmm,
So really sad moment as well.
yeah.
Okay. All right. In the chat, Paul is saying the car scene in A Quiet Place. All right. Okay. Let's see. And Kay's also going with the bathtub scene. All right. Okie dokie. Next category. The creatures kill. Okay. Who gets the point for the creatures?
Well, one of them you see them, the other
That's
you
right.
really don't.
But knowing what we know of them,
Mhm.
so in other words, which set of creatures is the more intimidating or scary, however you want to word it.
Well, I guess once again, I'm just going to look at like creature design, and one is just scribbles of drawings of what the creature looks like to those that look at it and live to tell the tale, because now they're the crazies. I'm gonna go with The Quiet Place because, especially towards the end of the movie, when you really get to see them and they're not just in shadow or in darkness, and you get to see how advanced their hearing is and how their face plates move and wiggle to kind of show the ears and the eardrums, or the alien eardrums.
Mhm.
And for me, and this also kind of would have been my secondary scariest scene, when they're in the basement, the water's flooding, and Emily Blunt just put her baby in the box because it's making noise, and you see that one alien right there come out of the water, and it's like,
Yeah.
holy crap. And you get a pretty good look at them. They're not just tall NBA players with long arms. So I'm going for Quiet Place.
All right. Eric, how about you?
Yeah, I gotta go Quiet Place, and it's not knocking the fact that we can't see the creatures in Bird Box, but that is definitely a hindrance because as a viewer, it's a bonus seeing what these creatures are in person or on a drawing like in Bird Box. But I love the design of these creatures in A Quiet Place. They kind of remind me of like the Lickers from Resident Evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a
Yep.
little more menacing because, like Kill said, we get to see the insides of, I guess you would say, their ears or their, whatever you would call that, and just
Mhm.
they're just they're just very scary looking, and just seeing that. Yes, the Bird Box creatures can, one look and you're done, but we actually get to see what the creatures in A Quiet Place can do. Their leaping ability, their attack modes and stuff like that, and the fact that
Mhm.
you can see it makes it more scary, in my opinion, in this situation.
All right. Coriander, how about you?
I mean, it definitely has to go to A Quiet Place. Those things are fast. They
Mhm.
like they're just, yeah, they're crazy things that I would not want to have to deal with. And yeah, the fact that they can like bust through metal to boot, I
Yeah,
mean,
that's
those
there you
things
go.
are like crazy. No, no, no.
Yep. I have to agree, and actually, you said my main reason right there is that they have strength, like they can go through metal. So it's absolutely, so as much as you might think, okay, I'm going to barricade myself and so forth, you got to make sure it's got to be like some super reinforced steel or something. And even at
Mm-hmm.
that, who knows? Because they're so strong, they can really cut through anything. So I think that was the thing that got me, is the fact that they're so strong. There's so many of them, and it's hard to know where they are because they're so fast and mobile. You know what I mean? They could be on the roof of a house. That's they got a lot of things that they can do. So I'm going to give that point to A Quiet Place. Okay, all right. Super Tenor also going with A Quiet Place, and Paula going with A Quiet Place. Kay is going with Bird Box. All right. And we got Jose in the chat. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. And by the way, if you guys have not hit the like button, please do. Helps to support the channel and share out the stream, please. Sarah says we're at 24. Okay. All right. Next category, kill. Lee or Tom? Who gets the point in either movie? So obviously we're talking about John Krasinski versus Trevante Rhodes.
They both, were good. I'm gonna go with John Krasinski only because you did have more supports, whether they were kind of a-hole-ish like John Malkovich or they were Machine Gun Kelly. There was more supports on the Bird Box side. John Krasinski, he was doing his best job as being a loving husband, a good father, and like a minor scientist, a journalist tracking
He was
these.
basically doing a job interview for Reed Richards.
I
That's
mean,
what he was
yeah, he
doing.
was. Hey, and he succeeded.
He
Yeah,
succeeded.
he played him. Yeah.
I
Good for
mean,
you.
he was trying. I mean, he was just really trying to make a better hearing aid for his daughter so she could hear these things. Because that in itself, I don't think we really talk about how scary that is, because she can't hear. So even if she makes a noise, oh, I don't know, did I make a noise? Could they have heard that? Like that's terrifying. When you just see other people running and just like, come on, you made a noise, like, oh crap, I did. So yeah, I gotta go with John Krasinski because he was just trying to be everything, and he kind of was.
All right. Eric, how about you?
This is tough. I think I'm gonna go with shit. I think we're gonna go with Tom, Trevante Rhodes, because, and this isn't a knock against Lee or John Krasinski, because they're both great performances. They're both very different. But I think the reason why I'm pushing more towards Tom is because he gets to speak. We get to see more of his personality. And for me personally, I just get to connect with him more. I absolutely love the Lee character, but and John is great with as little dialogue as he has, but I think there's just more of a connection and enjoyment of Tom because we get to see him interact verbally with a lot of the characters. And sometimes the quiet of A Quiet Place is kind of a hindrance to me. So going Tom.
All right. Well said. Okay. Coriander, how about you?
So I think I'm going to go with Lee because, I mean, at the end there, this is spoilers. So if people care about not hearing the end,
Yeah,
you want to
we haven't
go.
gotten there yet. Yep.
But I'm just saying, this is my point is, so I'm getting there. But when he dies, right, in front of his kids, I mean, and he, did his sign language to his daughter that he always loved her and blah, blah. I mean, that was like, he was great. His acting with not too many lines, but you could see the emotion. The scene where he took his son fishing And they went behind the waterfalls and he showed them, it's okay, you can scream,
Mhm.
and they, I just, yeah, he was good. So, yeah.
All right. Okay. And I think this is really tough because I think both actors did a really good job, and for the movies that they were in, they completed the assignment with flying colors. And Trevante Rhodes was really good in his role. And like you said, Eric, you did get a little bit more sense of his personality and interactions with multiple people or multiple situations, um, more so than John Krasinski. But I got to give the point to John Krasinski as Lee Abbott. And I think it's, again, going back to the little things, the less is more. And I think it really works to his advantage. He was just he was very stoic, he was very earnest, he was courageous, all those things rolled up into one. And that's so tough to do. Like if he had dialogue, that would have been tough to do, but he didn't have a lot of dialogue. So I got to edge this point out to Lee, because I think John Krasinski just nailed it. He truly did. No doubt at all. All right. Real quick, too, in the chat, we got Russell's in the chat and also has a channel member anniversary, 6
Hey, Russell.
months.
Oh,
Thank you so
nice.
much, Russell.
Good for you.
We appreciate the support. Hope you're doing well tonight,
Yeah.
man. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate the support. We really, really do. Definitely makes a difference for us. Okay. All right. Next category, Kill. You knew that we'd have to go there. So Evelyn or Mallory, Emily Blunt or Sandra Bullock, who gets the point?
There's a lot of parallels between these two women. They both give birth in their movies. They're both tough. They're both smart. They're both courageous. Oh, man. I'm going to very slightly give it to Mallory. And my reasoning for that is, where Emily Blunt, her character was on the farm, for this movie, only going off of this movie.
Right.
Mallory, she, like you said a little earlier, Night, Mallory was very lucky. She survived the drive with her sister. She's in the city. Trevante saves her. And all the stuff she goes through. Then, of course, later in the movie, when their little kind of group nucleus, breaks off, she's barely saved again, with your boy that wanted her to see. And hey, give me the kids. Give me the kids.
I know.
He was freaky. But then to go down the river, and in particular the scene where she's like, look, one of you is going to have to look, boy or girl. We can't do this without someone looking. And it's just essentially you're choosing what child dies, essentially. And when it got down to the 0 hour, she couldn't do that.
Right.
And it was just like, look, everyone just buckle down. We're gonna pray for the best here.
Yeah.
So I would just say that, like, her character really went through a lot of arcs, from essentially not wanting to be a mother, to being a survivor, to taking on her child and another child, to not wanting to name the kids because she figures, well, they may pass away in this world that we live in, and I don't want to have that heartbreak, to naming them and surviving. So yeah, Sandra Bullock did a great job. I got to go with Mallory.
Yeah, and that last point, first of all, is well said, man. That's the explanation of the night. That was so well said, especially at the end, because of the arc that she had. So you know what? I'm gonna jump ahead of you, Eric. I'm just gonna say this has to go to Sandra Bullock, and again, both actresses were fantastic, and Emily Blunt was great. Don't get me wrong, and I enjoy her as an actress. Don't get me wrong, but again, Sandra Bullock with that arc. I mean, we're just going by what we see in the movies. That's what we see in the movie, is an arc where she didn't even want to have a kid, and now not only does she have to have a kid, but she has to protect them alone. So it was really an interesting arc to see, as she is in this world that is so difficult to navigate. And you literally see that physicalized in being on the river. How do you navigate without looking. You know what I mean? So I definitely agree. I got to go with Mallory, Sandra Bullock on this one slightly. I mean, Emily Blunt was great. So, Eric, how about you?
We'll be 3 for 3. I'm picking Mallory, and all the reasons you guys both said, and then Killian stole it from me. My reason was going to be because she didn't want the child, and then you had to hit that home too, Knight. But here's one thing that I thought was what really hit it home for me. That arc of not wanting to have a kid, cracking jokes, and even the doctor's telling her to take it serious. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
got to take this thing serious. It's when she's saying one of you kids is going to have to look. And boy keeps volunteering. No, I'll say who looks. Boy volunteers again. No, I'll say who looks. So she's not going to make her son do it, but she's going to kind of force herself to make girl do it or make girl volunteer. But then boom, no one's going to look. So that arc in itself shows how much she cares for her son, but also now her daughter as well. So she didn't want any kids to begin with, and now she loves both children.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what I like. So
yeah, and I agree. And that's the moment where that was solidified. And also, again, that goes back to Olympia, and what happened to Olympia, and how if that didn't work, for you as a viewer, then some of that stuff with the little girl may not have worked as well. So again, this movie had a lot of different connections. So well said, Eric. Coriander, how about you? Who gets the point? Is it Emily Blunt or Sandra Bullock?
I am actually going to pick Evelyn. I mean, she is dealing with a newborn baby who you can't say, hey, you got to be quiet. A baby's going to cry. All right. And she doesn't make it to her happy ending in a house with all these birds. All right. And then it's over. And they all made it. Yay. You see aliens rushing toward them, and yet they figured out a defense mechanism, which is good.
Right.
I'm not going to give that away.
Which you don't get in Bird Box.
What?
There was no way to defeat them in Bird Box.
Right, but I'm just saying, dude, if you get enough of them and if you run out of bullets, you're screwed. You're only, you're screwed. So all I have to say is, no, I'm sorry. Y'all can vote for your Mallory, but nah. Emily Blunt all the way.
She's taking it personal.
I know. Why you gotta make it all personal?
I'm not taking it personal, but I'm just saying.
Wow.
For your
all right,
Mallory.
we'll put to in the chat. Barb saying, Killian sold me on Mallory. All good points here. There you go. There you go. Gene saying, have a great night. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, Gene. Hope you have a great night, and hope to see you again soon. All right. Next category. Let's go to our next category and see what we get. The saddest death. The saddest death. Kill. Who gets the point?
I always try to go with the thing that pops in my mind first. John Krasinski. And the reason it's sad for me is he knew I don't have a lot of time. You had one of the aliens, beating on the roof of the car, about to kill both the kids. It was just done. He didn't have enough time to John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are Batman. If you give them time, they can prep it. They're great planners.
Contingency plans.
Yeah. They're Tony Stark. They're Bruce Wayne. They're Batman. They're planners. He had no time. And he was just like, okay, this is never a choice. The last thing I want to do is sign to my daughter and let her know that I love you and I've always loved you. And when he just stands there and just yells, it's just like, oh, and Emily Blunt is watching it on the camera as well. And she knows, I always knew John would do this, because we talked about this in bed one night or whatever. And it's just, she sees it and she, just kind of, she knows. They all know except the kids, especially the daughter, because the daughter thought that, her dad kind of didn't like her or blamed her because of the other child passing. And just the fact that he stood there and just, hey, I got to save my kids, and he went out like a G. It was sad to me and a great scene. So
yeah, no, it was a great scene. All right, Eric, how about you?
First one that popped in my head. We're going Bird Box. We already discussed it. Is her name Olivia?
Olympia.
Olympia. And don't get me wrong, Kill, you picked a great one. That would have been my second choice. They're both parents losing their lives. I think the reason why to me as a parent, the reason why Olympia's death to me is more sad. It's not just because she's sweeter than John Krasinski is. It's the fact that she is a newborn mom. She did not get to enjoy any time other than maybe an hour, if that, with her newborn baby before she was taken out of the situation. And to me, and I could be looking at just because I'm a parent, to me that hit it harder for me because she didn't get a chance to be a mom. As sad as John Krasinski's death was, there was many times of monopoly, many times of doing this, many times of doing that. She couldn't even enjoy the fact that she was able to love this child as much as John was. So
good point. Well said, man. Coriander, how about you?
So I have to go with Killian, and yeah, John's death is definitely, I think, the saddest. Yep.
Okay. This is tough, man, because I think both of let's just be honest. Well, at least in my opinion, these are the two front runners. And I think you guys made some great points. And I do think, and I said it earlier, that's why I said we're going to get to it in categories, because I try to not to jump ahead. But, with Olympia's death, again, man, it was like, okay, it's over. All the hope is lost. If a person like this, who had so much love for this child, can be turned, then, what kind of a world are we trying to survive in? That's kind of what I was getting out of it. And again, that actress, I think, was very good in that scene, and it resonated throughout the rest of the movie. That being said, I have to edge it out to A Quiet Place. And here's the reason why. And this goes all the way back to one of our first categories. This is one of the scenes where the music also became such an important character. The story plot points from the beginning of the movie became such a big part of what was going on. The youngest child, obviously passing, became such a big, everything culminated in this scene, in my opinion. And, and again, shout out to the young actress who, in a way, her frustrations and just trying to be older, be more mature and so forth, all these things, they were like dominoes to get to this point. And when she finally has that moment, the look on her face when she's seeing what her father is about to do, it's a gut punch. Like it's hard to even watch. And again, you don't get all of that if you didn't put in all the work beforehand, and especially in a movie where there's not a lot of talking. So that's why John Krasinski has to get so much credit. The young lady has to get so much credit because there was just so much weight on this moment. And anyways, it was a really tough scene, and it still is to watch. So I'm going to edge this out to A Quiet Place. Okay, real quick too in the chat. Let's just jump to the chat for a second. Rachel is saying John Krasinski, absolutely. Yep. I have always loved you. I know it was a tough scene. It really, really was. And the look on her face, man, like you could just read a lot of emotions on her face. So she did a hell of a job, everyone has said.
She knew exactly what he was doing when he was signing that. He was saying bye. He was saying goodbye.
Yeah, I know. And just, can you imagine, man? It's like, whew. Anyways, Paul's going with John Krasinski. Barb saying the dad, yes. Oh, it broke my heart. I was so mad at the daughter. Sorry, but I was, because she didn't figure out the hearing aid thing in time. I know. It was just the irony of it, is that he figured out, he had been searching for a weakness and he figured it out and didn't even know it. And again, that sacrifice, it could have ended a lot different. So Sarah saying, ooh, Olympia's death didn't cross my mind for Bird Box. I thought you'd go Tom. Tom's hit me like a freight train. Yeah, Tom's was tough too.
Tom's was my second one, because he kind of sacrificed himself too. He took his mask off to give Sandra Bullock and the girl and boy time. So he knew, like, You know,
And it also, just like with Olympia, showed his character too, because he held back for that second to make sure he took out your boy David Dasmalchian. Shout out to Late
Yeah.
Night with the Devil.
right?
Yeah.
David had his 3
He's-
minutes on screen.
He's everywhere now, man.
He
I had a
is.
big smile on my face when he showed up because I just recently watched Last Voyage of the Demeter, and he is
Yes.
great in that movie.
Yes.
He's such a great character actor, and I'm pulling for him to continue to get more and more opportunities and spotlight because he's really good.
He makes someone like the Polka Dot Man from the Suicide Squad cool.
That's right.
You know what I
That's
mean? He's
true.
that good.
It's true. Yeah, it's so true. And we got SPC. What's up, man? In the chat. Good to
Welcome.
see you. Hope you're doing well. Saying, hey, Night, totally off topic, but I just watched both versions of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Yes. Listen to your review about it too and loved it. Hey, thank you so much. We are big fans of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And we also did an episode on Battle World with Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which was amazing. So good to have you here, man. Much
But what about that
appreciated.
Nicole Kidman one, Invasion?
That was pretty good too with Daniel Craig. That
Daniel
actually was
Craig.
pretty
Never
good.
seen it. Haven't
Yeah,
seen
I
that.
haven't seen it either.
It was not bad.
I gotta admit, man, you know what? That might be one of the only franchises with so many damn remakes, and all of them are good. All of them. The one with Meg Tilly as well from like
Yeah.
the 90s. That's not
Yes.
bad either.
Yeah.
You know. But I mean, we know Donald Sutherland is still the G. I mean, you know, let's just
Yeah.
be real. There's no
I don't know
lying
if I want to
here,
see any other version.
right? Russell saying never seen Bird Box. Well, let me just say this, Russell, and I've said this many times. When we talk about a movie on here, chances are you should check it out. It's a recommend unless we say otherwise,
Yeah,
and we call it dark territory.
This was my only time watching Bird Box, and I highly recommend it, Russell.
Yes, absolutely. No doubt at all. Okay. And hey, we got another channel member anniversary. We got Val, the general, in the chat, jumping
for you.
in. Thank you so much for getting here, Val. We appreciate that. 23 months, bro. That's wow.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
Good for
That
you.
is absolutely
Mhm.
crazy. One more month and it'll be 2 years. Val, thank you so much for all the support, all the help, being a moderator as well, always keeping the live chats positive and in line and so forth, and helping out with all the other mods. We really appreciate it. We truly do. And we know that there's a lot of choices of where you guys could be for streams. So we appreciate you guys jumping in here with us week in and week out as we continue to do things like this series. And she's saying it's been an amazing 23 months, found an awesome community of people, and have made some truly amazing friendships. You know, I love y'all to the moon and back. Keep walking the Night Watch path. Thank you so much, Val. Seriously. Awesome stuff. 23 months. Wow.
Mhm.
Unbelievable. Okay. And Super Tender's heading out. Thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it. Saying got an early day, long day tomorrow. Well, thank you for being
good
here.
night.
We appreciate it. Hope you have a good night. Okay. All right. So let's go to our next category, the finale. Kill. The finale, as we all know, is usually the last couple minutes, could be up to 15 minutes of the movie. So who gets the point and why?
Both of these finales are kind of doing some different things, and Coriander kind of alluded to it earlier. Like one kind of has a happy ending, the other one kind of has a cliffhanger ending, which I, you know, and I like both. But one of them has a gut punch too. I'm gonna go with A Quiet Place because for me, you not only have the sacrifice that John Krasinski makes, but then you have the revelation of what the hearing aid can do. And it's kind of like one of those, you're fighting Mama Voorhees and you only have a split second, like, because she's right there about to kill you. And it's just like, oh, hey, you know, I could do something with this. And it saves you and gives your mom enough time to cock the shotgun and do what she has to do. And once again, there's really no words. There's no like, hey, let's do this. But the subtle looks, you know, like once they kill, you know, that one and they notice, oh, a bunch of them are coming on all the video cameras. The look that like the daughter gives to Emily Blunt's like do it. Like, it's like, all right, and just cocking the shotgun. That's Mama Bear. I love it. I love it. You know, I love both of these endings. But this one is a gut punch. It's uplifting, and it's also that question mark of, do they survive this next wave, this onslaught of these aliens? You know, where one is bad enough, but you have a couple of them just, you know, doing their best crab walk, you know, and it's like, oh crap. You know?
That's right.
So yeah, I got to go for Quiet Place.
Good point, man.
You like that, Eric? That crab
Hey,
walk?
dude, there you go.
They're on the U.S. rowing boat team.
Knight's gonna have to cut that out for a super chat. You know, kills.
Please don't.
We got kills commentary, kills crab walk. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right, Eric, how about you? Who gets the point?
I'm also going to go A Quiet Place. I do like the ending to Bird Box. And I, you know, every now and then I'm a sucker for a happy ending. It is always cool to see Pruitt Taylor Vince. You know, he is one of my favorite, hey, it's that guy actor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really like him a lot.
Yeah.
But you can't compare it to the ending of A Quiet Place, because we'll get to John Krasinski, and I might be interpreting it wrong. Like, he's not only screaming just to save his kids, but I think he's finally letting all of this out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's
I
purging everything.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking with the sign language message he gives, and then the scene with Emily Blunt, you know, killing that one licker, I guess we'll call him, or whatever, and then to jump on that, and when she pumps that shotgun, that's like the end of Resident Evil. You know what I mean? That's a badass Mila Jovovich moment. You're like let's do this. And I'm glad there was a sequel, but if there wasn't, I'd still be happy with that cliffhanger ending. So I'm going with A Quiet Place.
Yeah, well said. Coriander, how about you?
Yeah, I have to go with A Quiet Place also. You know, it's almost like when you watch The Mist, right? And you see the end. And it's like, shit, you know, if you just would have waited a couple more minutes, you know, things would have been different. But yeah, in the situation they were put in, unfortunately, he didn't have those couple minutes. And yeah, it's tragic, and you feel so bad for him. And yeah, it's definitely better than, you know, I'd rather have, I guess I'm more a sucker for like a tragic ending than, yay, let's let our parrots go and be with the other birds, and, you know, kids go play with the ball, and, you know, we can all live life and blah, blah. So, yeah.
Wow. All right. To me, I think both finales were really good. They did do different things. And I do think, now here's the thing about the Bird Box finale though, but again, it's the arc. The arc that she has, like we said earlier, she didn't even want to have a kid. She was so self-absorbed, and Sarah Paulson was saying that to her in the beginning. To get to the end, where even before they found the sanctuary, she literally told them about, there's so many things I want to show you. Come back to me, because of course she couldn't take off her blindfold and she had no idea where the kids were. There was a lot, and that was some of the best acting as well, which is why you know,
and you know what kind of sucks that I didn't give her those points is because she didn't name her kids till the end, when there was like 2 moments where they could have like died, or at least one of them could have, and she still, come on boy, come on girl, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I didn't feel too bad for her. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I did feel bad for her, because again, you know, it's a realistic thing. Not everybody is ready to be a parent, and not everybody is a good parent. And I think that was, again, what her whole character was about throughout the whole film. And plus, like I think you said it earlier, Kill, knowing that these kids could die at any point. Even the guy on the river said, if you've got kids, you're probably not going to make it on the river. And I think she, in the back of her mind, knew that as well. So there was a lot of, you know, again, you can sometimes say these things in movies or have scenes that kind of illustrate it a lot, but again, less is more. You know, not giving them names said so much about what she thought of this world and their chances for survival. But at the end of the film, getting to the point where she opened up her heart and they were safe and so forth, it was a great character arc for her. That being said, though, I got to get That being said, though, I have to give the point to A Quiet Place. And the reason for that is because the thing that A Quiet Place did so well is it kept ramping up the stakes. Every time you thought that they were safe in a moment, something went wrong or something got twisted. You know what I'm saying? Like when they got to the truck, it's like, okay, they got to the truck, we're gonna be safe. Then there's the noise. Okay, then Lee grabs a weapon but doesn't see the creature up on the roof. And so it just kept ramping and ramping and ramping up to the sacrifice. But then that wasn't even the end of it, because they're coming back to the house. And it's like, okay, so what are we going to do now? Now, of course, this is before they knew that the hearing aid could be a weapon. But again, as the audience, you're just so much on the edge all the way up to the very end. It's just really so well done. And as well as Bird Box had that opening where everything was just so chaotic and was ramping up, A Quiet Place had a great finale, which did the same thing. So I thought it was really interesting how these two movies have interesting parallels. So I'm going to go with A Quiet Place for the finale. Okay, real quick in the chat, let's catch up. Barb saying to Killian, yes, then you want to see a continued story after A Quiet Place ends. I love that movie. The ending on Bird Box was also brilliant with where they ended up location wise.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of poetry to that. Absolutely. Let's see. I want to make sure I catch up to everyone here. Michael saying Bird Box is a good movie. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It is. Wow. And thank you so much, Val, for putting links in the chat. We got Eric's link as well as our watch party and everything coming up. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Okay, and Rachel saying Evelyn going all Ripley in the finale will never not be awesome.
Yeah.
That's true. That's so true.
Mhm.
And Val saying, please go to the homepage of the channel, hit the like button for upcoming streams. We definitely would appreciate that, as we also have planned for the end of the month. We're going to be doing our channel anniversary stream. So we definitely would appreciate you guys to help us out with that and hopefully join us. Thank you so much, Val. I appreciate you putting that reminder there. Okay, final category. And this is how we always do it. Kill. We got to choose one movie over the other. And this is also the last chance, if you'd like to do a super chat to give points to your film of choice. This is your last chance to do it so that we could count those points up. And we would also appreciate the support. Kill. Which movie gets the point? Is it A Quiet Place or is it Bird Box?
This is tough because I kind of get two movies in one with Bird Box, and I get a great silent film with The Quiet Place. I'm gonna very slightly go with A Quiet Place. For a lot of the reasons that we all said earlier, the performances and the fact that you don't have to say a lot, but the actors just did such a great job conveying emotion, and you really feel like they definitely are a family unit. But I love both these movies, but slightly Quiet Place.
All right, Eric, how about you?
Okay, I always love this category because we can finally play our cards. You know what I mean? And I'm going with Bird Box. As great as A Quiet Place is, for me personally, this is me personally saying, I think sometimes the quiet kind of hinders it for me. You know what I mean? I gotta be in the right mood for like a silent film or something like that. You know what I mean? Bird Box, we get the action, we get the characters, but also kind of like Kill said, we get two movies in one. And as I've always said, I'm not a big non-linear movie guy, but I really like the way this one's done. Sometimes, like we'll say for a comparison, Pulp Fiction, that's chopped up like hell with its story. And sometimes, like if you've never seen it before, it can be kind of hard to follow. This happened here, type of thing. I think Bird Box with its non-linear flows a lot better, and I'm so interested in seeing what's happened before they're in the river. So I'm gonna go Bird Box.
All right. Well said, man. Coriander, how about you?
I am going to choose A Quiet Place.
All right. Any particular reason why? Or do you that's
Rewatchability.
ooh,
I've
okay.
only seen, I've seen the Bird Box like twice.
Mhm.
And the first time I watched it, it was like, oh, okay. But with A Quiet Place, I've seen it quite a few times. And watching
Okay.
it again, it just, for me, it has a lot of rewatchability. So, yeah.
That's a good point. Well said.
Yeah.
And that does count for a lot. Um, for me, this is really tough because they're both great movies. All right, let me just put that out there. And when we do these battles, I mean, that's ultimately what we try to have is two movies that have an even amount of greatness or what, or sometimes maybe issues. But both of these movies, I think, are fantastic in what they do. And you guys made some great points. And Eric, one thing, like you said about the silence, sometimes it can be a hindrance. To me, um, I think sometimes it transports you into a different place a little bit. No pun intended with place. And so I'm going to slightly give this to A Quiet Place. And also, Coriander, your point about rewatchability, I think there is a lot of rewatchability to it. I think there's good rewatchability to Bird Box as well. But I think with A Quiet Place, based on all the things that we've talked about, some of the specific performances and less and more. And it's such a crazy thing to see how they navigate it. It's crazy to see how they navigate things in Bird Box as well. But with A Quiet Place, the planning, the setup, how they walk, where they walk, all that, when you're watching it, it's like you're on this journey a little bit more in an intimate way than in Bird Box. So I'm gonna barely give my point to A Quiet Place. Okay, all right. So let's just jump to the chat, and we have got a super chat.
Mm-hmm.
We
Hey.
made it.
It
Thank
did
you
make
so
it.
much, Barb.
Yep.
We appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. A $5 super chat saying, I don't know if it will need it or not, but 5 votes to A Quiet Place. All right. So we will put 5 points down. And Barb, we really appreciate that. That definitely helps us out a lot. Again, doing this series week in and week out. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say. So let's do a quick clip
Oh.
for Barb. Again, sometimes you said sometimes when you think that you're ready for your 80s icons to do different types of things, you might see something that really, really messes you up, Kill. And this is an example of it. Here we go.
Big trouble. Little China.
There it is.
I've actually seen that video a handful of times. I can't get past John Carpenter in the finest suit,
Yes.
singing the best song in the world.
The best song ever. Yep. John Carpenter rocking it out.
Yeah.
Barb, thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate that. That helps us out so much,
Mm-hmm.
more than you guys would know. Real quick too, Rachel is going with A Quiet Place. Paula is going with A Quiet Place. Sarah's reminding us we have 26 likes. Thank you so much, Sarah. We appreciate you letting us know. And again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. It really helps us out. Russell saying 27 now. All right. That's right. When you guys come into the chat, please hit the like. Easiest thing that you can do. Easiest thing. Barb saying great creature feature. I agree. Yep. Val is saying she's choosing Bird Box, just kept me on the edge of my seat more. Oh, there you go. Okay. Kay is going with Bird Box. Let's see. And just so I can catch up. Melissa's going with Bird Box. And yeah, and it was a good super chat clip. Val said, what the hell was that? Right.
That's the official music video, Val. Night did not do any editing to that. That's the official video for Big Trouble in Little China.
Hey, look, can I say something? This is so funny. If you guys hang out with us on Friday nights, which you should, Let me just say that we're with our watches live, and we have the Sarah. Sarah put. Wish I could see Sarah. She's got that look going on because she hates. Well, she doesn't hate Big Trouble in Little China, but it's an old joke. And
Mm.
and yes, Sarah. It's so funny. I can see her rolling her eyes like, oh my god. Oh, that one was for you, Sarah, too. All right. That was funny. Okay, so let's do this, guys. Let's do our quick recap before we announce a winner. And for you guys, I'll let you guys do the recap as I count these points. Kill, I'll start with you.
Okay. Well, first off, these both of these movies are great movies, and don't let the whole fact of Bird Box being a Netflix movie, hinder you, because it could have easily been in the movie theaters and it would have rocked. Sandra Bullock is a great actress, so if you have not seen Bird Box and you have Netflix after the show, of course, go turn it on. It was a really good movie. One thing I just want to say about both of these movies is there's two scenes where I thought they were awesome from each movie. One is just the craftiness of using the navigation and proximity detectors of your SUV.
Mhm.
Like
That was
they just
smart.
like it was smart. They blacked out the windows in the SUV and they plugged it into GPS, and the proximity sensors were going off. That was an intense scene because you're like, oh crap, what is it? Did they run over a body? Is it the entity? Is it crazies? Are they about to run into a car? Who knows? And then the other scene, which is on A Quiet Place, quick subtle scene. You're walking with your son and everything's cool. You go past a house. Is that an old man over there? And anytime you're walking and a kid runs into the back of his dad, and it's just like, oh goodness, what's wrong? And the dad is just looking at the guy like, and the guy's just he's just tired. His wife is dead. We don't know if he killed his wife or if she just died of old age. But this is another way that this world is scary, because if one person just decides, I want to be aced out, you're gonna bring the aliens to that area that you're in. And you just don't want them in that area. And he just starts screaming and they just start running. And here comes an NBA player, done. So both of these movies were great. Check them out if you have not seen them. What you got, Eric?
This was fun tonight. A Quiet Place. I really liked the film. And like I said it before, this is John Krasinski, the asshole, not Dwight, but the other asshole from The Office. And if you've only known him from The Office, like me, Doctor Strange doesn't count. He's in that for 5 minutes.
Right.
He is really good in this, and he gives a fantastic performance. He's a fantastic director, fantastic writer, and he pulls great performances out of these characters. I mean, there's himself, and then there's just three others, really, if you count the baby. But it's so good, it's so scary, and I wish I would have seen this in theater, because this would have been good on the big screen in the dark with the surround sound and with a crowd of people. So I highly recommend this one. And one thing I always say is what I love about Battle World is sometimes we pick movies that I would never have thought of seeing. I don't know when I would have sat down and put on Bird Box, but I'm glad Kill suggested it, because this movie was really freaking good. With all the random actors that popped up, Sandra Bullock, she has come a long way. No disrespect when I say this, from Speed and Demolition Man. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Two fairly different types of movies compared to Bird Box. You know what I mean? Those are goofy, air quotes, action movies, and she's so much better as an actress in this type of film. It's intense, and what I liked about Bird Box is there's scenes that have nothing to do with the danger that I really like.
Right.
Kill mentioned the scene where they're driving. I was reaching for quotes just in case we had that category tonight. And one of my favorite scenes, our favorite quotes that eased the tension, they ran over a dead body. Oh, that's just a speed bump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Or one of my favorite scenes is when they're all in the supermarket. John Malkovich is getting drunk off the free booze, and Trevante Rhodes is flirting with Sandra Bullock. It reminded me of the scene where the sheriff, or the retired sheriff or whatever, is kind of flirting with Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween Ends. That's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Right.
Because it has nothing to do with the danger.
Mhm.
but it's still a great sweet scene. So I highly recommend both of these movies for different reasons. But I really really dug Bird Box. I see myself watching Bird Box again within the next couple of months. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Hey,
Nice.
Eric, if you want to see John Krasinski as a different character as well,
Mhm.
check out the show Jack
Jack
Ryan.
Reacher.
Well,
Right.
Jack Ryan, not Reacher,
Yeah,
but they're
right.
both on Amazon, so it's confusing.
Jack
Mhm.
Ryan.
Jack
Okay.
Ryan,
Yeah.
based on a Tom Clancy novel of books. He's really good in it.
Okay.
Spy
Yep.
thriller.
Yep.
Yeah.
Write it down.
Yeah, he's definitely so talented. Coriander, did you have any final thoughts?
No, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, with both of these being fantastic movies, and by the way, also to say too, being that I think this is the first time we've had a movie that was, basically a streaming original film. But like you said, Kill, Bird Box could have easily been a theatrical release, and I think it would have, still done very well. And to what you were saying as well, Eric, I think Sandra Bullock was great in this. I wish
Mhm.
she would do more movies like this, because the level of her acting at this point in her career is so strong, and she's a very strong actress. So these types of tender moments and tough moments, she's so convincing. She
Yeah.
truly is.
Yeah, I read she said she doesn't like horror movies, so that's why she doesn't like to
Right.
be in them, which is sad after seeing her in this one.
Right. I know. All right. So we have, for the final tally, with a score including the 5 points from Barb, we have a score of 21 to 44 for the
Ooh.
winner of tonight, and that is A Quiet Place.
Wow. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. All right. So John Krasinski and his wife Emily Blunt, they get the point. They get the win. So very good matchup. These are two great movies. They really are. And again, for you guys that maybe haven't checked these out, you definitely should. No doubt about it. And Barb saying, "Nice." There you go. And for you guys in the chat, we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And again, if you haven't hit the like button, please do. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think about the battle. And also, if you get a chance to share it out on your social media, that also helps us out as well. And we'd appreciate it. This was fun, guys. So, yeah, can't wait for the next one. For you guys watching, thank you so much. And we will catch you guys next time. And as always, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Night Watch. Peace.
Cheers.
Church.